The Mujahideen, which had emerged into a loose organization called the Taliban. Now I am laughing at you. Your argument is most of the time when there's a conflict or a war, it doesn't work out if the United States doesn't get involved. That's your argument.
Not get involved, but certainly not put our weight on the scales, right?
Okay, we push for a peaceful resolution. Cool. That's putting our thumb on the scale. All right.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
All right.
Yeah, but if you're talking about Ukraine specifically, this is a little more than just pushing for a peaceful
Yes, I
resolution
agree.
for a
We're
country.
arming them. We're basically the only reason that they're still fighting. Agree.
Yeah, I'd say that's a good thing.
I don't think that's a good thing. I think that's a bad thing. What?
Okay. Go
How
on.
old are you?
Screw it. 28.
Okay. Why don't you go fight? Why are you making Ukrainian men die for your wants?
So,
Why? Tell me. Why don't you explain why Ukrainian men need to die by the hundreds of thousands so you can achieve whatever it is? What is the geopolitical goal that you think this is worth? By the way, just curious.
Well, Hey, Rob, are you a child?
No, I'm 40.
Why are you talking
41.
about things that might affect children?
It has nothing to do. I'm not saying that children should have to die for my happiness or my wants. That's what you're saying. You're saying send them the weapons so they can keep dying. I think that's a good thing. I'm asking why.
No, well, you asked me why I'm not going there to fight.
Right, because what you're saying is I think it's a good thing that we're sending these weapons. I'm like, that's directly leading to Ukrainian men dying. You're like, yeah, but it's a good thing. And I'm like, but then if you feel so importantly that this is such an important good thing, they're taking volunteers.
Well, one, being like, I feel like because, like, that's not a really good faith argument, right? Like,
why is that not good faith? Like, anytime, what I see is most of the people that evolve, most of the time, people that were in the military that were involved in very serious fighting, they're the last people that want to fund war. Because they've seen the hell, and they're like, it's brutal. We don't like it. It's not something. Now, it's not ubiquitous, but it's certainly true that that's a lot of people. That's how they feel. And so what I see is a lot of people back home, like these politicians like Lindsey Graham, that aren't going to go over there and fight, and their kids aren't going to go over there and fight. They're saying, let's keep it. It's good because Russians are dying. So they would be happy with every Ukrainian dying to the last man. They would say, good, worth it. That's absolutely excellent. Look, we've diminished Russia.
Well, have you looked at, like, the Ukrainians' position on the situation?
Yes. So, for example, hundreds of thousands of Ukrainian men tried to flee the country and are now being forcibly conscripted into a military. I would say those people's position is we don't want to fight, or they would have volunteered.
Hundreds of thousands?
Correct.
Hundreds of thousands. Are you sure? Hundreds of thousands? I don't think I've seen that number. I feel like I can check myself. But I feel like if it was hundreds of thousands, like it would be bigger news.
Estimates suggest 600,000 to 850,000 Ukrainian men of military age 18 to 60 fled to Europe after Russia's invasion in February 2022, despite a ban on their departure.
Which source was that?
What's your source giving your number?
I haven't made a number yet.
Okay, so give me your number. Give me your number and then tell me your source.
My number for what?
Give me your number for how many Ukrainian men fled, and then tell me the source, and then I'll happily give you the source.
I don't have a source on me. I didn't make any claim that Ukrainian men ran. Like you said, there's been 100,000.
Okay, I gave a claim. You're like, that's it seems. Okay, so I did get that from Grok, which is then linking to Wikipedia. Now I'll look and see where it's at, and you find your source to suggest that's incorrect. Go ahead.
No, I'm not saying it's necessarily incorrect. I'm saying I haven't seen that number before.
Okay. What number have you seen? You were unaware that any Ukrainian men fled? That's your argument?
I'm aware that hundreds of thousands. Like, I'm willing to concede maybe a few thousand, but hundreds of thousands like flee, at like fighting age men.
Yes.
Okay. I haven't seen that. Like, I have not seen that number. But what I have seen is that those that are still there are still very willing to stay and fight. Like,
Then why would they ban elections and things like that? So they've done all
so,
sorts of banning of
okay, hold on.
elections and other things. It
So,
seems that
hold on.
what would you do if there was actually polling that suggested that people want a peaceful resolution or they want Zelensky gone?
So if that was the case, then yes, you would have to refuse to give weapons there because you have the population fighting against their will.
Well, what do you
right?
think the chance? Okay, so then let me ask you this: would you agree that crucial people, neocon type people in the United States, want that war to keep going?
Oh, probably.
So, what do you think the chances are that we would get the accurate polling that was occurring over there to tell us that? Do you think if it was in their agenda to keep it going, that they would just bullshit the American people and say, "Trust us, bro"? Their polling all suggests they want to keep fighting.
Well, given how incompetent they are at covering things up, I'd say we get at least a good sign of the numbers, right? Like at least some.
I think that's bullshit. Even the polling in the United States, despite how inaccurate or how bad they are covering stuff up, the polling's still laughable on many issues that talk about the popularity. Look no further than the 2024 election.
Possibly, but there's still signs that it's around, right?
Well, there's plenty of signs, like hundreds of thousands of people fleeing Ukraine, that you just weren't aware of.
Okay, but to be fair, that's partly because Russia's bombing their cities and specifically targeting civilian areas. Like, if you can't fight, right, like, you run, don't you think?
No, you wouldn't run out of the country, which is illegal in Ukraine right now. You would run to a different area of Ukraine.
I'm pretty sure some were, but again, the issue right now is that Ukraine's a pretty big country, and a lot of the areas are getting bombed.
Key sources: the November 2022 report by the European Union Agency for Asylum, which noted that approximately 650,000 Ukrainian men of draft age had entered EU countries since the war began, based on border crossing data and asylum applications. This figure was corroborated by the 2023 study from the Migration Policy Institute, which estimated a range of 600,000 to 850,000 men. Now, that was 2023, and the numbers were already that high.
Well, that is news to me. Although I will say, the Ukraine population as of 2024 was 37 million. So
Okay.
that's what, like 6%?
Well, what's the Ukrainian population? Let's do a little calculation.
Yeah, like if we look for
What's the population?
Pre-war, it was 41 million.
Okay,
Right
41 million.
At least according to, let's see.
So then we'll say half of those are men, right? So we'll say about
Sure.
20.5 million men, right?
Yeah.
Of those, how many are fighting age? We'll say 3/4 of them, right?
Yeah.
So 15 million.
Give or take.
Okay,
So-
and you had on the high estimate 800,000. So almost 1 out of 20 Ukrainian fighting age men have left.
Yeah.
Okay, I would say that would show that that's a substantial number. That's just men, by the way. That's just men that have
of
fled,
course.
right? So then how many people stuck around but didn't want to fight?
Well,
How many women didn't want them fighting? How many
the-
old men that are outside that age didn't want them fighting?
Well, the current population, again, according to World Bank, is 37 million, almost 38 million. So it's not. So it is worth noting that I do think that there's a substantial portion of Ukrainians that don't want to fight. Like they have, I think Zelensky himself has said that they are willing to make peace if, like, concede land if it ends the war. Right?
I don't know that he said that. He's gone back and forth on shit all the time.
Yeah, that's fair.
He
He's a politician.
said he said in that meeting with Trump when they were trying to get this sorted out early in the administration, he criticized the plan that Trump and Vance had offered and said that no deal would work with Russia because Putin's a liar.
So I will say he was kind of right there. Putin has been dragging Trump around a lot more, I'd say. Right?
What's that? I'm sorry, you cut out or something.
Oh, sorry. I would say that there he was correct because Putin has dragged Trump around a lot more. That is a point.
I don't give a shit about that. I think that both Zelensky and Putin suck. And let me finish. And I think that the fact that how do we know that it's Putin dragging around Trump and not Zelensky as well? And how do we know that the policy hasn't radically changed because Zelensky made an asshole of himself and said no matter what you negotiate, it will always be unacceptable because Putin is a liar. So I'm sorry if I don't believe Zelensky now's had a turn of face that's like, oh no, it's super justice this time. Now not only will we negotiate a peaceful resolution and trust Putin, but now we're willing to give up land to do so. Nope, sorry. Chance missed. Again, none of this has to do with the central claim of why we should be arming Ukraine. None of it, right? We're just talking about, why you think that we should do it because the Ukrainian people want it to occur. I don't care if 100%. I don't care if 100% of the people in Ukraine wanted it. But what I'm proving to you is, even in that point, it's not true that it's unanimous. Just looking at some polling here. No, it's, of course, you have to look at the way that these questions are worded. But in October and August of 2024, 52% of Ukrainians favored negotiating to end the war as soon as possible. This is a notable increase from 27% and just 17% in 2022. 38% of Ukrainians believe the country should keep fighting till victory. That's down from 63% in 2023 and 73% in 2022. So it looks like, you know what's probably happening? The people of Ukraine are seeing all their men dying, and they're like, we don't really like this. And now only down from 73%, down from 73% to 38% say we should keep fighting till we win.
Sure, but it is worth noting that protesting in Ukraine is legal, and so far, at least as far as I've seen, there haven't been recently there were mass protests over Zelensky trying to overturn an anti-corruption bill, but those protesters actively clarified, no, we are not in favor of ending the war this way right now. This isn't us trying to.
I'm unimpressed by the fact that if they were really pissed off, they would have mass protests. I don't know that's the case. In a country led by Zelensky that's literally beating and conscripting men into service, I don't know who's going to be gung-ho to go out and protest something like that. Sure, it's legal.
I don't think that. I don't think that's happening at the level you're suggesting.
Okay. But how many men do you believe have been forcibly conscripted in Ukraine? So far, the numbers, you've been wildly inaccurate with any suggestion and implication of the numbers you've suggested, including you said you would be shocked if it wasn't just more than a few thousand that had left Ukraine, when we could see the numbers were actually true from two sources from the EU that showed that those numbers were 600,000, 850,000, which shocked you. Then when we looked at most recent polling, we could see that actually, as time's gone on, about every year, 30% collapse in support for fighting until the bitter end. Now we're down to 38% of that. So it seemed you were wrong about that. Now you're saying you don't believe that in numbers men are being forcibly conscripted. So can you give me your estimate of how many men you think have been forcibly conscripted in Ukraine?
To clarify, you're talking about people getting grabbed and beaten on the street and then forcibly conscripted, right? Not just
let me say, there are some people that have been beaten. There are other people that have been forcibly conscripted from the street that perhaps we don't have evidence were beaten at the time.
Fair. I mean, it's a war. It's a draft going on.
Why do they need to draft? If everyone's so gung-ho to fight, they would volunteer, right?
It's a country of almost 40 million people. I don't think everybody's going to.
Why wouldn't you volunteer if you're willing to fight to the bitter end?
Not everybody's going to want to fight to the bitter end.
Oh, wait a minute. But it seemed to suggest earlier, you seemed to suggest that they want to keep fighting. So now what you're saying is a small portion want to keep fighting.
No, I'm saying that a plurality do want to keep fighting. I didn't say it's the majority.
Okay, so a plurality of the fighting men, or just a plurality of the country?
I'd say a plurality of the country.
Okay, so 38% say that they're willing to keep fighting to the end.
Till the end, till victory.
Okay, yeah. Right. So that already suggests strongly. I would assume that probably near 100% of the men that were forcibly conscripted probably don't want to keep fighting.
Maybe. But in terms of our support to them, us giving support, I mean, I think if we go back to history, I think this is an example of where if we give support, it would be for the better. I
disagree. I disagree. I just think you're trust me. Give me the example. Okay, so here's what we'll do. We'll go tit for tat. You give me the example of when the United States didn't give support and it was a disaster, and I'll give one where we didn't give support and it wasn't. Go ahead.
China's the big one.
China when?
Right after World War II, so I'm saying 1946.
Okay, 1946, where, when, with China? Go ahead.
We had been supporting the nationalists, and we kind of stopped, and Mao Zedong was able to basically overrun them and push them into Taiwan a little bit after we realized that, hey, we should have been supporting them, so we helped protect Taiwan.
Okay, so your argument is we should have sent money to influence the elections in China, the internal struggles in China.
They weren't having elections, they were having a civil war.
Okay, so we should have picked one side in the civil war in China.
We had picked a side, it was the nationalists.
Okay, and we should have sent them more weapons.
More weapons, more direct aid, yeah.
Okay, give me evidence that would have worked out in the benefit of the United States.
I mean, we sent
the weapons to Mujahideen. Did that work out?
Actually, yeah. The Soviets left
Afghanistan. Explain.
The Soviets left Afghanistan. The Mujahideen actually stuck to their guns in Afghanistan for a while. It was later the rise of the Taliban, and it is worth noting the Taliban and the Mujahideen aren't the same thing. It was later the rise.
There's a lot of crossover between the Mujahideen and the Taliban.
Yeah, a bit, like
a bit.
One,
okay, so let's look that up. So, what percentage would you think? What percentage of the crossover, the people that were in the Mujahideen, do you think ended up in the Taliban?
Honestly, if memory serves, most of the Mujahideen actually died before they could even were killed by the Taliban. If memory serves, because the big one, people say, oh, Osama bin Laden was the big one. There's the primary evidence suggesting that are folk songs. It's not there's no document suggesting Osama bin Laden was in the Mujahideen. He might have run logistics for the Saudis in the 80s and delivered weapons to the Mujahideen, but that he was working with them in battle, there's no actual evidence of that for Osama bin Laden. There was, I don't remember their names off the top of my head, but I think there was one guy that was a big commander who started to work with the Taliban or wanted peace with the Taliban, and so I think he was Mujahideen, but yeah.
I mean, I'm just looking. I don't know how Grok comes up with it. It estimates 10. Sorry, was that?
Sorry, no, I fair enough. Asking Grok, I'm going off the top of my head. I'm sorry.
Now, it's interesting. So far, twice, you've demanded resources and sort of snickered at the stuff that I'm bringing up as resources. You've brought up nothing. You've brought up nothing. So I'm gonna need all of your sources now for the claim you just made. Go ahead.
Okay. So Osama.
No. I want a source. I want a source not for what you said there, but a source that shows that substantial numbers of the Mujahideen were not what made up the Taliban. Go ahead.
It was a study by, I believe it was Brookings. Let me check. It was an old document. Afghan Mujahideen. Was it? Trying to find it here. It was an old file. Let's see here. '79. After here's Council on Foreign Relationships. Let me see. So EBSCO has a short summary here.
EBSCO. EBSCO. Okay. Oh, okay. Right? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Right?
EBSCO. Go ahead.
Yeah, right. It says Mujahideen were militant Islamist group originating from Afghanistan, primarily active from the Senate, yada yada yada. Emerging in response to the Soviet Union's invasion of Afghanistan, which followed a coup by 1988. Taliban. Let me find you. Following this, the Mujahideen coalesced into factions, with the Taliban emergence as the most powerful group. So, right after the Soviets left, the Mujahideen had splintered, basically. They did have a government, but eventually civil war happens. That's kind of the story in Afghanistan, and the Taliban were one of the groups that emerged from there. Were there individual fighters that were part of it? Possibly. But
where's your source? I'm sorry, where's your source? You just... Yeah, here, I can do this. I can do it too. EBSCO, majority of the country, and Europeans, Czech, Ukrainian refugees. So yeah, I mean, there was a government there, and then maybe some people left and went to the other government. I don't know. Yeah, that's real cool source there, man. Real cool. Can you explain where it showed how much of the crossover from the Taliban, Mujahideen went to the Taliban? What was that source again? I heard you mutter EBSCO summary. Why don't you put that source in the private chat, and then I'll read it here, and it's going to tell us somewhere in there how many Mujahideen-trained fighters ended up working with the Taliban, right? It's going to tell us that, right? Because that's what you were snickering at. My source
No, I
So
wasn't
you
sneaking
have
at
a
your
better
source.
source to suggest that's not
Look,
true.
I'm not laughing at your source. I'm putting mine here, but I was laughing at, you said you're using Grok, and I'm like, haha, okay. Here's the,
So you don't have a source. Is that fair?
I'm putting this one here. I'm trying to find the original one. I wish I had it printed. Like
All right,
Google AI
here's
says,
the source. This is the quality source that you offer us. This is
well, I wouldn't say it's
EBSCO.
quality.
About EBSCO. Let's look at EBSCO.
Um,
Who are they?
it was just one of the documents I found.
Reliable information from all kind. EBSCO. Oh yeah, the old magazine. Okay. So this is just in general. But it's from Tyler Biscontini. Who's this guy?
I don't know him. This is just
You don't know. Well, it's interesting.
No,
It's interesting. You were quick to snicker at other sources. So
I wasn't
I'm just guessing what you did was quickly Google, pick the first thing that you thought might reply, because you thought that you were going to snicker at me trying to source stuff the whole time. Meanwhile, you're just making claims and not sourcing anything. So then you quickly Google search, because that's so much better than using Grok or something else. You quickly Google search. Then you bring up EBSCO, cited as a source. EBSCO's just like a magazine, a collective of writers. So this is from Tyler Biscontini. It doesn't give any of his credentials that I see at the top. We'll go down to the bottom. We don't know who he is. Is this just some college student that wrote something? It's interesting. We don't know. We don't know what it is. But somewhere on here, you're citing this as a source, right, that's going to dispute the commonplace held argument and my argument that much of the training that went into the Mujahideen and the Mujahideen fighters ended up being a part of the Taliban. You're like, this is going to... You snickered at that.
No, I didn't.
You did. Would you like to rewind the tape?
I snickered, but I wasn't snickering at you.
What were you snickering at?
Nothing. I just tend to...
You just randomly... It's weird. In these past, 10 sentences, I haven't heard you snicker at all.
No.
It's almost like, why can't you just be honest? What you snickered at was, I was saying estimates, the Grok thing I'm saying. As soon as I said it was from Grok, you were like, that's what you did. You snickered when I said that I use Grok. That's what you did.
No, I did laugh at that moment, but
it was irrelevant of what I was saying, why you snickered.
That's
your argument?
I promise. I'm sorry if
So you just randomly snickered, and it had nothing to do with what I had just said.
I tend to find that calms people down.
No, I think what happened was you snickered at the fact that I was using ant, which is perfectly reasonable.
No, I'm not.
If you have a better source, but you don't. You haven't had one source for anything you've said tonight. Not one. And so this is the first one. So let's go through it. So this source from the great Tyler Biscontini, qualifications unknown, it's going to explain to us that there wasn't an overlap between the Mujahideen and the Taliban. The Mujahideen were militant Islamist radicals out of Afghanistan, operated from 70s to the late 80s. Then they divided into various tribal splinter groups. They were famous for fighting against the Soviet Union's invasion of Afghanistan. End of the Mujahideen. By 88, the war had proven too costly for the Soviet Union. It was formally agreed to withdraw its troops and the international community of Afghanistan as an unaligned nation. The Mujahideen, which had emerged into a loose organization called the Taliban. Now I am laughing at you. Let's see what your source... Yeah, you're laughing now, right? The Mujahideen, which had merged into a loose organization called the Taliban. I'm sorry, you were saying this source was going to tell us that there was an overlap?
That wasn't really what I said. You can rewind it.
So then what was this? What was the point of providing this source?
The point of providing the source was that you asked for a source, and I looked for one that did mention the origins of the Taliban and the separation from the Mujahideen. If you noticed the year, did you miss the year the Taliban rose up?
What? I'm sorry. My claim was that a lot of the Mujahideen went into the Taliban, right?
Yeah,
so you're going to provide a source that says otherwise, and the source you provide literally says that it merged into a loose organization called the Taliban.
Yeah, this one does.
Okay, but that's the source that you provided. You laughed at my source, and then you're like, let me provide a source, and the very first... So what this shows is, you did just Google this. You literally just Googled and clicked the first thing, and unfortunately, let me finish, and unfortunately for you, the first article that you cited as a source, because you'd never read it before, says the opposite of what you intended.
Fair.
Who's laughing now, I guess?
Me? Both of us?
No.
It's not like it is. Like this is a tangent. To be fair,
It is not a tangent. What had happened was, I thought we were having a conversation.
Yeah.
You laughed at the source. That's fine.
Well,
That's
I didn't.
twice. That's twice you sort of impugned like, oh, this source. I hadn't asked you for one source yet, so then it was like, okay, if that's the game, if we're gonna play the source game, no problem. I'm perfectly fine for that. And sometimes it helps because I'll be the first to admit I'm just looking up things on the fly. And so if you're gonna laugh at my source, I assume that that's because you have better sources. And so then when we get to your source, it turns out you're not even doing as much as me. You're just quickly Google searching. You're not even trying to read the details, and you're throwing some shit out that's saying the opposite of what you intended.
I mean, like, kinda, not really, but.
What do you mean, not really? That's what happened. Yeah, right?
Not really, and that I don't like. I do have other sources that are not available right now, but like I don't mean to be like, oh hey, I'm doing this because I have better sources. I didn't giggle at you because I have a better source on hand. Like that's not my intention.
You giggled at me because I said I was using an AI source.
No,
I just wish you'd be honest about it. Yeah, I did it. Okay, whatever. I was
did
just saying
say
I
I
wouldn't
did it.
trust AI, but you're right. I
No,
don't
it's
have a
not.
better source. Simple.
No, it's not. It's like you're right. I don't have a better source, but I'm not saying like I giggle because I'm laughing at your AI. Like I'm sorry if it came off that way.
So it was just a complete random utterance of giggle, not connected to anything I said.
Like you could say, oh, you said grok, and I'm like, huh, but I didn't mean it like that. I'm sorry if it came off that way, man.
But